Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live show, our Belmont Draw Show. It's me, G. Randall Johnson, the beautiful Sarah Marie, and we're joined by Dr. Derby Chip Gehrke.
So, Chip, we've been racking our brains because you were the Preakness practitioner. There's not much as far as a B except for the Belmont biologist.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah.
You're not an MD anymore.
Yeah.
But you have your PhD, so that's fine.
You can't have them all, Chip.
Yeah. So,
Well,
yeah.
We have a lot less horses in the Belmont, so it should be easier to pick this race, I think, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah. And in case anybody hasn't heard it yet, Rebel's Romance is scratched out of the Belmont due to a hind leg injury. So that brings our field down to, I believe, just 8 now? 7?
How pissed are his
8.
How pissed are his connections? Imagine bringing your horse over. I mean, it's one thing if you were a New York horse or something. I mean, that still sucks. But
it was an infection. Sorry, hind leg infection.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, yeah, no. And so it's one of those I mean, oh God, you came over, you're ready for the Belmont. This is big. You shipped. You got Mike Smith jumping on. This is awesome. We're going to try to, what? Hind leg infection. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What's up, Guillermo?
They still got essential quality going.
They do. That's true.
This is true. So, yeah, exactly. But it's the Belmont, come on. So let's talk about this a little bit. Are you looking forward to the Belmont?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. It's an interesting race. Obviously, every year we're back to a mile and a half after being a mile and an eighth last year. So I don't even consider it. Yeah, it was a Belmont last year, but let's not kid ourselves. That was not a real Belmont Stakes, if you will. It's a fascinating race in that I don't generally pay too much attention to the post positions when it comes to the Belmont, but this year is interesting because you have a few horses in here that could grab the early lead and not look back. And it'll be interesting to see who draws where. My personal pick, I think one of the commenters asked who my pick was. I mean, I'll just say it right now. I really like Hot Rod Charlie in this race. He's shown me that he's run great in every race since when's the last time he ran a bad race in his 2-year-old year. He's been right there. He held off essential quality in the stretch of the Kentucky Derby. Didn't quite get to Mandolin and Medina Spirit, but I have a feeling Hot Rod Charlie is primed for a big one here. So it's interesting though with the post positions. I'm just not sure who's going to go to the lead here. And again, that's why I think this post draw matters more than most.
Yeah,
when it comes to this race.
So you're no matter where Hot Rod Charlie is, you're going to go with Hot Rod Charlie. Could be anywhere.
Yeah, because he doesn't need the lead. I don't think he'll be on the lead. He doesn't need it. He can be on the lead. He could be off the lead. But I just think he's better bred for this distance than Essential Quality. I know some people might argue that, but Essential Quality just does not strike me as a 12 furlong horse. I could be wrong, but I just never thought of him as a Belmont horse. But we'll see.
I think we've talked actually a lot about Essential Quality just does not have this distance in him.
And when you talk about the Belmont, everybody always brings up this is the longest race most of these horses will run.
Yes,
ever in their lives. So, Guillermo, I kind of I mean.
Yeah, Rock Your World's been looking good in his workout.
So you think they're going to send him, Guillermo? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think he's absolutely right. I think Rock Your World will, if he breaks smoothly, unlike the Kentucky Derby, if he breaks smoothly, I fully expect Rock Your World to be on the lead. And then it's just a question of how far can he take him. And I think I mentioned this in our Kentucky Derby post draw on our preview. Rock Your World strikes me as a turf horse that excelled in his first start in the dirt, but like many turf horses that have run well in their first start in the dirt, flopped thereafter on the dirt. And yes, he didn't break well in the Kentucky Derby, but I don't know. I still am not convinced that Rock Your World is a dirt horse to be reckoned with here. I think he's better on the turf, and he will not be on top of my tickets.
That's surprising because I remember you did say that, and you did make a good call with that, with the bounce after the second after winning on the dirt the first time, and it actually happened. I was wondering if you'd go back to Rock Your World, but I guess there's a thing where, and I wonder if everybody out there can attest. Like when you have a horse like Rock Your World, and this horse, I don't want to say this horse needs the lead, but send him and see how far he can run. Is that what you think their philosophy is here? Send him and see how far he can run?
Well, yeah, he's certainly bred for the distance. He's got a Belmont winner on his damn side, Empire Maker. So absolutely, I'm pretty sure they think he can run all day, and I do too. But I'm just not convinced he's better on the dirt than he is on the turf. Yes, he ran great in the San Diego Derby, but like I said before, we've all seen many grass horses run well in their first start in the dirt, and then after that, they just weren't the same on the dirt, and they ended up back on the turf. So, he's also, I think this is kind of an overlooked fact. He's only had 4 starts. So, I think there's only been one Belmont winner in history with this few of starts, 4 starts, and I think I don't know. There's a lot of things bucking against Rock Your World, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's a good point, Guillermo. Maybe you throw it out right off the break, but it's not like he ran that great.
I don't think he bounced.
No,
I don't think he bounced, Guillermo. I just think that I just think I look at the San Anita Derby as somewhat of an aberration, a kind of a freak performance on the dirt, right? On his home state, to go to ship to New York, 1.5 miles, which is good for him. But back on the dirt, I don't know. I'm going to let him beat me.
Yeah. Well, and it is Big Sandy. Let's not forget. Chip, is there a big transition there with the turf horse running in that deep sand there at Belmont?
I don't think it's a dirt track. Yeah, they call it Big Sandy, but there's, yes, obviously a turf to dirt, it's a different surface. So I mean, but if you're gonna say, is it? I guess is your question. Is it
different than like Churchill or
well, sure. I mean, they're all different, but I don't think it's plays into much. It plays too much into this. What I'm saying with Rock Your World as far as his turf prowess compared to his dirt. So.
I see Sarge is coming in. Sarge is coming in here.
Salute to Sarge, saying essential quality over hot rod. Take it to the bank.
All right, Sarge chiming in. All right, well, you guys heard that, Sarge. Nick Hines, TBG.
What are your thoughts on Rombauer? Do you think this horse has it in him?
No, I don't. I think that the Preakness was pretty much handed to him on a silver platter with Midnight Bourbon and Medina Spirit, and kind of going at it in the start. And I think I need to see him do it again. There was a lot to that race. Yes, he's shown to be something in the bluegrass with his closing kick there. He was beaten 5 lengths by Essential Quality and Highly Motivated in that bluegrass, and he's been a graded stakes performer. So he wasn't like some crazy long shot that won the Preakness, but to become the first Preakness Belmont winner since a Fleet Alex, I think it was in 2005, he's going to have to show me. I don't believe he is that quality, but again, we'll have to see. He will not be on top of my tickets. He won't be on top of my tickets either.
What about Known Agenda? Katie's asking, what's your thoughts on this horse?
So Known Agenda is an interesting horse, trained by Todd Pletcher. He kind of ran evenly in the Kentucky Derby, never really gaining traction in the stretch, finishing 9th. Ran well the 2 starts previous to Florida Derby in that optional claimer. His connections intrigue me here. His pedigree certainly is intriguing here. I wouldn't be surprised here if he doesn't get too far back, doesn't lay too far back off the pace. Sort of has a similar trip that he had in the Florida Derby where he was never really far off. I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe make a run here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I guess before we get into it, it's 10 minutes before the post position draw starts. let's talk about, is there any horses out there? What do people think? Like, is there a horse here on the draw that be in trouble, or, or a perfect spot for one horse or anything like that, Jake?
I don't know. I mean, post position one's won the most Belmonts, but you can't really go off those numbers because oftentimes you see Belmont fields, really short fields, and now we're down to what, 8 horses. So obviously the connections of Rock Your World, I think they would be probably pretty happy with the post position 1 draw, right? So because they want the lead. But, like I said, you could see Hot Rod Charlie has speed. I mean, Essential Quality has speed, and it'll be interesting. But, if you're asking me about, who wants to see what, I think Rock Your World's connections would love to see the 1 post.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anybody that could really get stuck. I mean, it's usually stuck on the 1, but like stuck outside or something like that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's they got it's a mile and a half. I guess it would be interesting if, say, Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality drew next to each other, right? And let's say Hot Rod Charlie draws post 6 or 7, and Essential Qualities to his outside. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, because I absolutely believe that there's no way that the rider of Hot Rod Charlie will let Essential Quality cross over him. That's just my take on it. And the same with Essential Quality if he drew inside of Hot Rod Charlie. So I'm interested to see where those 2 draw, specifically those 2 horses, because the other ones outside of Rock Your World, I can't see any of them really going to the lead.
So Rock Your World is 6-1 right now, but what the feedback we're getting even from people, I think Rock Your World is going to be bet pretty hard here.
I think Rock Your World's going to be
at least from this crowd. But Essential Quality did show a lot of guts in that fight it had, coming down, which
really
that kind of does make a Belmont winner. A lot of times. I look for guts a lot, so I do kind of like Essential Quality with that, because if there's a dog, I mean, how many of these horses have been in dog fights? Hot Rod Charlie has, Essential Quality has. Rock Your World really hasn't. Got bumped in the stretch and really ran away last time, like a dog fight, Yeah, so I'm wondering what people think about that.
Yeah, Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie certainly have been in some battles. It's pretty amazing. We haven't seen in the history of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the winners or the horses that hit the board first, second, and third really come back and battle in a Triple Crown series very often. But you got Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality, who were 1-2 in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, who've been major players on this Kentucky Derby trail, major players of the Kentucky Derby, and now they're major players in the Belmont. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. What was the last question there? You had it up, I believe.
It
it's
wasn't a question. It was just a comment
about
known agenda got shut down. Yeah, I mean,
it's the Derby. I mean,
it's the Derby. It happens to everybody. Everybody's got an excuse every year. And what I like to do is, I looked at the replay, obviously many times. Everybody has an excuse, and did anybody really have a crazy legitimate excuse? I don't know. Even Essential Quality. You know what? He had a quarter mile to pass those horses in the stretch, and he didn't do it. So I don't buy into any excuses from Essential Quality's camp, Known Agenda's camp. The best horse, in my opinion, won the Kentucky Derby. And in the Preakness, sure, there's some excuses there, but you know what? The best horse won the Preakness, Rombar. Really, it's funny when I look at the Preakness, I don't know if you guys will agree, but the horse that actually, to me, caused the most problems for Medina Spirit and Midnight Bourbon was Francisco de Ina. Is that how you say the horse's name?
I think that's what we've been saying.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if people remember that race. I think when he came up the inside, that caused the top 2 to go slightly faster in that third quarter, and that might have been the difference in the race. But still, hey, the best horse won the Preakness. I mean, there's no excuses. Part of winning these races is knowing how fast to go in the early parts, knowing where to be.
No, absolutely. And I just want to say to Tom and Tom, on a Monday morning, you need to get a calendar.
Welcome to Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, Tom. But it must be nice living your life that you don't know what day it is. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. So I see that question. Cox says he will love it. He's out of Tappet. Well, first off, every trainer of every horse in this race says believes their horse will love the distance. I never ever pay attention to what a trainer or owner says what their horses will love it or how they're working out because they're biased, right?
Well, yeah, you never really hear somebody go, you know what? I don't think my horse can get this distance.
No, you're never going to see a trainer enter.
I would bet the house on that horse if he did, because I'm like, this mother, he's playing us.
He knows something we don't.
That is a true thing, though. But it does make you feel good when you like the horse when they say that. I'll tell you what, though, when they say it early on in a horse's career, I'll take it for like when a horse is like at 6 and it runs well, and be like, you know what, I really think this horse could go 1.25 miles. You're like,
so much.
Okay, cool, but not right before the race.
And you know, all the horses can go 1.5 miles. It's just a question of how fast they can go. And yes, he's by Tappet. I sort of believe that there we go. Yeah, every horse gets the distance, just finished at different times. Tappets to me are better at 9 furlongs, so that's just my take on Tappets. But with Essential Quality, don't get me wrong, very good horse so far in his career. That one loss, he just strikes me as a horse that is not going to be a 12 furlong horse. Now, having said that, full disclosure here, I was the same one who felt Union Rags could not get the Belmont distance, and he did. I was a bit surprised that he was able to win that race. Although I think that this field is slightly stronger top heavy than that field. But so anyways, that's my take on Essential Quality. It doesn't mean I don't think he could finish second or third or be right there. I do, because he's obviously very game and he's high quality. So I mean, absolutely.
And I know Katie was asking, what post would you want for all horses? All legs.
Well, that's a tough one.
They're about to come out, so you better be quick.
Yeah. So obviously, Rock Your World. I think if he drew number 1, and you know, what I want for all the horses is going to be different than what the connections want. I think that the connections of Essential Quality would love to be maybe right outside Rock Your World, inside of Hot Rod Charlie, so they can kind of dictate, you know, what goes on there in the second tier. I don't think it matters for a couple of these other horses because they're not going to be near the early leaders. They will be closer than usual because you're not going to see a horse 15 lengths back here, maybe like they have been in the past, these closers. So as far as what I would want for all 8 horses, like I said, Rock Your World, if I'm a Rock Your World fan, I'd want number 1. If I'm an Essential Quality fan, I'd want to draw inside of Hot Rod Charlie and vice versa.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Why did you say you don't think the connections would? Well, go ahead and answer this before we.
So actually, I'm more into playing the superfecta for this race, and what I was going to do, and now the field's dwindled, so I have to kind of reevaluate this. I was going to go with Hot Rod Charlie, single him on top of my tickets in a super, and then pick another horse in this field that I think can finish in the top 4. Right. So then what I would do is go, so let's say Hot Rod Charlie in the first spot, that other horse I pick in the second spot, and then all. I think that ticket's $21, right, for a 50-cent super. And I would kind of spread it around like that, where I would maybe put the field in the second spot, and then the horse I like to hit the board in the third spot, and then the field in the second and third spot, and then the horse I like in the fourth spot. And I think the total amount for those tickets, now it's only 8 horses, so I think it would be even less than, I think it would be like $60-$70 for that to be covered in the super, no matter what, as long as Hot Rod Charlie won and as long as my other horse finished in the top 4. But if I had to pick 4 horses in here, you know, to box, obviously it's pretty chalky. I mean, I think Essential Quality, I think Hot Rod Charlie. I actually am going to go with Known Agenda in here, and I'm going to throw Rock Your World out. And as far as the 4th horse, I'm not sure if I'm even going to throw Rombauer in there, but it would be between Rombauer and probably Overtook.
Oh, okay. So you might throw, like, you don't think there's a bomb that could show up in here?
Well, I think that's one of them, right? Overtook would be kind of a bomb, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure what the morning line odds are going to be yet, right? So we see that in the Belmont. Yeah, sure. Bombs. I don't know what kind of bomb. We're not going to have a 70-1 shot in this race, right? Like Sarava, I think, what was he, 70-1 or something? But we're not going to see that. I think your highest odds horse in this race would be what, 20-1 maybe. So, I don't know. That's why I'm leaning towards the superfecta if I really want to try and make money.
Yeah, Overtook might be the biggest. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't think anybody's going to crash the party? There's nobody out there that could, not win, but run a second, possibly.
Yeah, so I was reading one of the comments: single, all, and super. Yeah, if you really like a horse, right? You could single them. Maybe if you like another one, you can go. You got the exact and go all. It's a pretty cheap ticket. You could probably up it to $1 super and make more money.
Yeah, that's a ballsy play to go second and third. That could, very reverse.
Yeah, for me, if I like Hot Rod Charlie, I'll single him on top. Like I said, I'll probably go all in my other horse. Like I said, I'll spread it out with 3 different tickets. That way I'm covered. If he wins and that other horse that I pick, more than likely it's going to be Essential Quality, because I just can't envision him being out of the top 4 here. Then I would win the super, right? And it's just a question of me hoping one of these bombs, if you will, that Overtook maybe hits the board, maybe gets second or third, something like that, and then I can make money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because if Overtook even got up for third there, you're going to make money at the Belmont. I mean, it's what it is. So we're waiting on the draw right now.
I can't see it, so I'll trust you guys.
Yeah, we got it. The live stream on Naira, of course, has started. They're just doing some intros on. Right now, they're talking about Rumbar and Essential Quality.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Much ahead of me. All right, yeah. So we're just waiting right now.
Yeah, we're waiting right now for the draw. So just to update, here's your field to be drawn. We got Bourbonic, Essential Quality, France Go to Ina, Hot Rod Charlie, Known Agenda, Overtook, Rock Your World, and Rom Bauer. So, Rebels Romance did scratch this morning. So, our hearts kind of go out to Mike Smith. But speaking of Mike Smith, we did interview him this week. So check out that latest episode on both DGen and the Triple Clowns. We have that out. Great interview. He talks about a horse he rode yesterday, strong ride yesterday. He talks about Royal Ship. And he, of course, we did talk about Rebels Romance prior to this morning's news.
Yeah.
So interesting fact, Essential Quality is a Guerrero roan horse. There's only been 4 of those that have ever won the Belmont. So that's kind of an interesting little fact. Favorites have won 5 of the last 20 Belmonts. So I don't know if I should say only 5 of the last 20. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Only 5 of the last 20 have been won by favorites.
Yeah. Oh, that's some interesting. Katie, no, he doesn't have a ride unless Mike Smith calls. You never know, but probably not. But I don't. We're trying to figure out if he's going to go still because he is obligated to some rides there. On our interview, he tells us that he is obligated to some rides for them. So I'm wondering. All right, they are on the podium. Are you listening to him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we will tell you they
are starting the draw. Post position 5, we got France Go to Ina.
Interesting. I don't think, obviously I don't see him near the lead. There's been 15 winners from post 5 since 1905.
3 goes, 7 goes to Rock Your World. I didn't catch 3.
7 goes to Rock Your World. Interesting. So he's drawing close to the outside. It'll be interesting to see who draws to his outside. There's been 13 winners of the Belmont for post 7. Won't hurt him at all. He's not going to be on the lead.
They're going really fast. Sorry, Tip. Okay. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's all right.
We'll go through it in a minute. Just say where they are.
2, Essential Quality.
Oop. That's where Chip wanted him.
So Essential Quality is the
4 is Hot Rod Charlie.
Okay. 10 horses have won from the post position 4. 12 have won from 2.
These guys are going fast. Naira must pay them by the hour.
Whew. There we go. That was the field of 8. That went extremely fast. So.
It did. So what do we got here?
Here's the odds. Bourbonic 15-1.
That's the one.
Number 2, Essential Quality 2-1. Number 3, Rombauer, 3-1. 4,
3-1.
Hot Rod Charlie is 7-2. 5, France Go to Ina is 30-1.
That makes sense.
6, Known Agenda at 6-1.
Okay.
Really?
So what was Hot Rod Charlie's odds? I'm just trying
7
to
is
pull
Rock
everything
Your World at 9-2.
7-2, Chip.
up. Okay.
8,
you
Overtook is 20-1.
Oh, Overtook dropped a lot. That's weird that the odds have actually changed. I wonder, like, is David Aragona like going like nuts while they're drawing right now?
Yeah.
All right, so now we have them.
So,
All right, so anything out of that? Let's talk about the horses real quick, Chip. Let's run through them.
yeah, so Bourbonic drawing on the inside. You know, he's a closer, so that's fine. I expect him to just kind of drop back a bit, not as far as usual as he would be in maybe a mile and an eighth race, a mile and a half. He's got to keep touch with the early leaders. Essential Quality draws a two hole. Interesting with Rock Your World in the 7 hole. You know, Rock Your World to his inside is the 6-horse Known Agenda, who is not expected to be among the early leaders. Overtook is to his outside. So as long as Rock Your World breaks cleanly, I fully expect him to go to the lead and cross over. And I expect Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie to follow thereafter. I think Essential Quality be laying second. I think Hot Rod Charlie will follow him along in third. I think that's how you're going to see the horses go into the first turn. I think Rombauer will be a lot closer than normal. I think he'll lay right off of them in fourth. And I think Known Agenda will be fifth, and with the rest of those other 3 kind of behind those top 5 horses. So, you know, it's an interesting post draw. I think if Rock Your World does not break cleanly, he may not get to the lead. He's got a couple horses to his inside that wouldn't mind being on the lead. I don't think they really want to be on the lead. I think they both would love to just kind of stalk Rock Your World. But we'll see how it goes here at the break.
Yeah, Essential Quality really drew pretty nicely there on the inside. Could with Bourbonic on the rail on the side. I mean, that could be a nice little trip for Essential Quality. Essential Quality, the favorite now, but I want to comment on when he set up there. They should do the morning line. You know what? But this is a good time, and they will the morning line. I mean, this is going to be the morning line now? Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
this is the morning line.
That is silly that they do it super early. You'd think that they want to see the post positions a little bit more.
You would think so. I think that's something we need to talk to David
take
about.
advantage of it. Take advantage of it. You know, because the morning line does a lot, especially with races like the Belmont, guys. You know that you have people betting that don't know what you know. If you're watching this right now, you probably know a little bit more than most people.
So I think when they set the morning line here, they already had these. They had what they. I don't think the posts mattered to them when it set the morning line. I think they had it in mind what they were going to set it at. I will say, I'm a little surprised at the morning line of Rombauer and Hot Rod Charlie. I think Hot Rod Charlie will be higher than 7-2. I think he'll be 4-1, maybe even 9-2. I think Rombauer will be higher than 3-1. And I think Rock Your World will be lower than 9-2, like you guys mentioned earlier. I think that Rock Your World might end up being the second choice. I think Essential Quality be the favorite. You know, I'm not sure he'll be 2-1. I'm kind of thinking he might go off of 5-2. I don't think, you know, it's interesting. Obviously, those 4 are the main players, but as far as the 31 on France Go to Ina, it's going to be tough for a horse to be 30-1 or higher in an 8-horse field like this, a race of this magnitude. But I guess we'll see. Overtook is a horse I mentioned earlier, 20-1. He'll definitely be the second longest shot on the board. Bourbonic, we remember him. He won the Wood Memorial. Yeah, I kind of think that's about appropriate for him, 15-1. Other than that, Known Agenda 6-1. I think he could be higher than that too. I think Known Agenda could maybe 7 or 8-1.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, Rocky World is going to take money from somebody, and you're right; it might be Essential Quality. If he goes down, the other one's going to go up, and it's usually one of the favorites that do it. So, no, you're absolutely right. To answer that question, I'll say that none of them. These guys are all really good. I mean, if you're looking for the least experienced rider in a big race, I guess you'd go with, Carmouche hasn't had a ton of them, but he's been around forever.
Yes.
But I don't think he's going to screw up his timing. They all know where they're going, and their clocks in their head are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've asked this, and I only said that
We've
because we've asked this question
to a lot of jockeys.
Do they see the times? Like, they should have a clock out there. We've talked about that
along the rail.
because
what do they say?
They say there's never a clock out there.
It's
in their head. They can almost tell you exactly how fast the horse is going.
They just have that instinct to know.
And if they're going too fast, it's because they have to let the horse do whatever. It's not really their fault. They might get caught up a horse chasing another horse, and things do happen. But you'll see that more with low-end jockeys that don't know it yet. But these guys, I guess if you're looking for the least amount, Carmouche, Ricardo Santana Jr., who's great, but probably, compared to these guys, Velasquez, Rosario, Pratt, Irad, Manny Franco, I would have maybe said last year, but now look at him. Tis the law. So
yeah, it is.
And they'll say how he screwed that up, but those are the Tiz fans.
Shout out to Creed.
And a lot of these riders are riding in undercard events, between the weekend, Friday, Saturday, especially the out-of-town jocks. So, no, this isn't a situation where there's like a Triple Crown on the line. You got to, there's some nerves at play here with maybe an odds-on favorite going for the Triple Crown where he mistimes his move. I think we remember Real Quiet in 1998. A lot of people thought his rider mistimed, Kenta Sormo mistimed that move of Real Quiet when he opened up a little too fast there at the top of the stretch, and they got nailed at the wire by a nose. So we don't have that situation right now. So I think this is we say this now, it looks pretty straightforward, but you know what? You never know. Rock Your World looks to me like he's going to be in the lead. And like you guys said earlier, it's just a matter of how far he could take him. And again, I don't think a pedigree is an issue with Rock Your World. I think the dirt might be the issue. And then it's just a question of Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie. Where are they going to be? And do they have enough stamina to take this distance? And then, Ron Bauer's got something to prove. Is he going to bounce? Does he really belong with these top echelon 3-year-olds? I still think the jury is out with Ron Bauer and the Known Agenda. Maybe he comes back to his pre-Kentucky Derby form. He didn't run poorly in the Kentucky Derby. He was only beaten 9 or 10 lengths. So we've seen this before, and he's also trained by Todd Pletcher, which is a favorable for me. I like the fact he's trained by Pletcher's home track. So Known Agenda is definitely dangerous in this spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I see people going back and forth about the odds, but they'll be what they are. You guys aren't, when you bet it, if you guys are saying this, there's probably other people out there thinking the same thing. And remember what you think. Because, look at what always a good thing to do is, and we've learned this before, make your own odds and see how much they differ and bet on the ones that differ a lot and you get price on. And, because this is a tough race to do the odds, but I do agree doing them right now and not really, I don't know. I guess we have to ask David next time we talk to him. We're going to that. Do they actually take post positions into effect or do they not? I don't know. We'll ask David how we're going to that.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask David that. But I just wanted to quickly go through the field one more time for everybody, including jockeys. What?
I think the winner. Okay, yeah.
I think the winner might either be Known Agenda or Hot Rod Charlie. Katie, you could be right. I like Hot Rod Charlie. It's interesting. We haven't talked a lot about Ron Bauer, but he's the only one in here with a shot at 2 jewels of the Triple Crown. And believe it or not, if Ron Bauer were to win this race, he's a big favorite for the 3-year-old Eclipse. All of a sudden, within 3 weeks, he goes from kind of nobody thinking about him to, if he wins this Belmont, he's in the mix for the 3-year-old title and Horse of the Year, which is hard to believe, really. But there he is.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hold on 1 second. We're
Yeah,
trying to-
and while you guys are working, I think you guys are going to get that field up there on the screen.
Yep,
Is that
I'm
what you're
just
trying to?
gonna get it.
Yeah. So, Essential Quality, again, for him, it's a big race for Essential Quality. He's a 2-year-old champion, winner of the Bluegrass, winner of the Rebel. So this is his chance here to get a Grade 1 win as a 3-year-old and get himself back in the 3-year-old Eclipse picture, because with a loss here, he's fallen behind now some of these other horses. So a big race for a lot of these horses to get a leg up on the Eclipse. Hot Rod Charlie, the same deal. Louisiana Derby winner, ran well in the Kentucky Derby, 3rd place. So sure, it's a big for him as well. So I think if any one of these 3 horses win, they're going to be in the lead for the Eclipse.
All right. Yep, now it's up on the screen, so I don't have to look at us anymore.
Look at that. All right. I like that.
Yep.
All right, so quickly go through. We got post position 1, Bourbonic with Kendrick Carmouche at 15-1. 2, Essential Quality with Louis Saez at 2-1. 3, Rombauer, Johnny V, 3-1. 4, Hot Rod Charlie, Flavian Pratt, 7-2. 5, Francisco de Ina with Ricardo Santana Jr. at 30-1. 6, Known Agenda with Irad Ortiz Jr. at 6-1. 7, Rock Your World with Yoel Rosario at 9-2. And 8, Overtook with Manny Franco at 20-1. That is your field for the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, I think there was a comment on there that I can't remember who that person said if they win, they're going to be the Horse of the Year. There's no great older horses, and the 3-year-olds are going to be favored for Horse of the Year. I don't necessarily agree with that. We don't know where this 3-year-old class stands, and as far as the older horses, really the racing is just starting to.
Mystic
Yes.
Guide.
Yeah, you got Mystic Guide, you got Maxfield.
Maybe come
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
I know we talked briefly. There's those 2 California horses, from yesterday. Don't sell those 2 short, Royal Ship and
Country Grammar.
Country Grammar. Don't sell those 2 short. And again, the Breeders' Cup is in California for those 2. So I think that the older horse division is quite good, actually. Happy Saver. Remember Happy Saver? He beat Mystic Guide in that Jockey Gold Club last year. He came back and won his first start at age 4 earlier this week. So don't sell these older horses short. There's a lot left to go. And believe me, the older horses, if I had to pick right now who Horse of the Year was going to be, it would be one of the older horses, not one of the 3-year-olds.
I don't think the 3-year-olds are good. I really disagree.
I agree.
with
There's
that.
not like a big, major, outstanding 3-year-old this year.
Yes.
To qualify for
There's
Horse
no
of the
shot of one of these horses winning the Classic. I'm going to say that right now.
Katie mentioned, you're right. I concentrated on the Rebel. Essential Quality. What was the prep he won over at Oak Lawn? I can't remember the name of the race. Was it the Southwest? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about, Katie.
Was it the Arkansas?
No, he won the a race at Arkansas. Then he went over and won the Bluegrass. But I knew I messed that up. But yes, I can't keep track of all. Katie also said Charlatan. I don't believe Charlatan's going to return to the races. I think he's a long shot to return to the races. So don't get your hopes up. So that's my take on him. But don't sell the older horses short. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Charlatan does and can come back.
Yeah, she's a little bit. He's a little bit.
Been very quiet about.
He's been resting for some
He's
reason.
been resting for a while. So
yeah, we just heard that. But yeah, no, I mean, Mystic Guide. I mean, you don't know who's going to pop up. But yeah, these other horses, like they're just battling. But yeah, it's crazy. There we go. Yeah. I mean,
wow.
I'm a big Charlatan fangirl, so I'll agree with that one.
Well, I will not agree. Charlatan's had one race at age 4, and he finished second. Okay.
Yeah.
So Charlatan has not anywhere, in my opinion, close to the best horse in the country. He's got to show it. Yes, he's got a lot of potential. Yes, he's run some great sprint races, right? He ran, well in Saudi Arabia, but he's got a long way to go. This sport is not on potential. You have to prove it on the racetrack. So I don't think we're going to see him on the racetrack again. But if we do, he's got a lot to prove, in my opinion.
That's a good point with Life is Good there. But you know what? I mean, it's going to be hard for Life is Good to win it. Let's just say that, because what's going on, and also coming back. We'll see. But yeah, I mean,
and even Life is Good. I get it. Life is Good was good, right? But I was not as high in him as everybody else. Sure, he won off in his last start before he was injured by 8 lengths beating Medina Spirit, but Life is Good at a lot of hurdles. He still had to show us he can ship, run at different racetracks. There was a lot of different questions to be answered by Life is Good that he didn't get to answer that others in his class have. So you can't put, he's got to take it in steps. And will he be back? His trainer and connections say yes. Well, if he's back, then we'll see where he's at. And he's going to have to run some good races to catch up with these.
I just looked at a weird stat of the 7 Post has only won one. The last race it's won was in 1999, and the 7 Post, I think the 7 Post is 6. I don't know, stats going down, but it was by Lemon Drop Kid, one of my favorites.
Yeah, there's been 13 winners from the 7 Post since 1905, according to my stats. But yes, has anyone heard where Mandolin is going to show up? Yes, I believe they're pointing. Am I correct me if I'm wrong here? I believe they're pointing for the Haskell. I always get Mandolin and Midnight Bourbon mixed up. But I know the Midnight Bourbon is as well, and I want to say one of them is pointing for the Pegasus. One of them is pointing for the Pegasus as a prep at Monmouth. I can't remember which one. Chip doesn't like California horses. That's not true. That's not true. I love California horses. I love them. And I do not have bias towards any geographic location. So no, I love California horses. In fact, California horses have a huge advantage this year with the Breeders' Cup being out there. So, like I said, there's a couple Country Grammar, Royal Ship that have huge advantage. If they stay in their home state, they can make some noise later on.
Yeah, it is true, and that's why you have to watch the California horses. And obviously, we're a little biased because we are at the track all the time. But the thing with California horses is being at Del Mar, watch these horses that are running off of Lasix. That's the big part about watching these California horses right now, because that's going to be a factor.
Especially come Del Mar, or actually not Del Mar, Breeders' Cup at Del Mar.
Yeah.
Lasix is going to be a major factor. It'll be interesting to see what horses end up in the Breeders' Cup.
Let me ask you, Chip, real quick, as a voter for the Eclipse Awards, and you do your rankings every week, and do you ever have a horse is it going to become something that's like, well, that horse runs on Lasix and that horse doesn't? They're close, but I'll put the one that doesn't run on Lasix because he's drug free.
No.
Does that enter your head? Will it ever?
So it's entered my head when handicapping the races recently. So I've looked at some, especially on Kentucky Derby Day. I've looked at some horses, where they've always run Lasix and now they're off, or maybe they were off a couple races from Lasix, and then you kind of look at maybe some patterns there. But when it comes to the Eclipse Awards, it's going to take care of itself, because some jurisdictions are not going to allow Lasix. So then some horses are not going to be able to run in some of these events, and maybe not run as often. And to me, that matters. So that matters when you look at the Eclipse resume, right? So so that's kind of where it's going to come into play as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so I guess it does, but it's going to do it on paper.
All right. So one of the commenter said, I knocked Rock Your World, Life is Good to Charlatan. No, I'm not knocking Rock Your World. All right. I like Rock Your World. I just am not convinced he's a dirt horse. I've just seen this before in many years of watching racing. I love Rock Your World. I'm not convinced he's a dirt horse. I got to tell you, I thought long and hard about Rock Your World going into the Kentucky Derby. But then at the end of the day, I just thought, you know what? He just strikes me as a turf horse that just freaked on the dirt for the first time. Life is Good. Maybe I've knocked him a little. I just don't think he's as great as everybody believes. I just think he's got a lot to prove. It kind of reminds me of Charlatan, who neither have really, set the world on fire. Sure, they've run a couple fast races, but they got a lot to prove.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You just all right, here we go. Another question out of current Mr. Guide. Who do you think is better Well, that's two different horses, obviously.
It's interesting. Mystic Guide is interesting in that I know he wanted to buy a World Cup, right? But and maybe call me crazy, but I think he needs to prove to me that he could do it again and actually beat better competition, because I don't think he beat much in Dubai. So, but then the same could be said about Country Grammar, right? And I think you have to throw Royal Ship in there as well with Country Grammar, because I think they're both very good and they're both very close as far as I'm talking Country Grammar and Royal Ship. I think we're going to get a better gauge on Mystic Guide in his next start, the Suburban, where he's going to face Happy Saver, who beat him last fall. But if you're asking me right now, who do I think is better? I guess it depends on the distance. If it's 1.25 miles, I'm going to have to pick Mystic Guide.
Yeah, no, and that's a tough one right there. But Mystic Guide, I don't know why I'm not a fan of Mystic Guide.
I know you're not.
I don't know why.
I don't know either.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he started this year really impressive, but I think he has a lot more he needs to prove. I do think he's a really good horse.
And let's face it, if you voted for Horse of the World, it would be that one horse that's just dominating, that beat Charlatan and then won over Dubai afterwards. It's weird that.
Yes, Mishrif.
That horse come over.
Yeah, Mishrif. It's funny. We're in the United States. We don't talk about the Mishrif really, but this guy, what he pulled off is unbelievable. And if a U.S. horse did that, they would be proclaiming that U.S. horse that pulled that off as one of the best we've seen in our life.
That was crazy.
It's not a U.S. based horse, so we can't say that. There was a comment. There was a commenter. Katie said, "Gamine falls under that Lasix kind of talk we just had." Yes, absolutely, she does. Gamine, a very good horse, very good filly. I've always thought she was a sprinter. Not a two-turn superstar. I think we kind of know now she's just a sprinter. But what's the common denominator here with Gamine in 2021 in her starts? She has not run with Lasix because she couldn't. And what has happened to Gamine in 2021? She's won. Don't get me wrong. That's the whole point of the game. But she's not nearly as dominant as she was last year.
No.
Yeah. We've been saying
and
that.
She won like a 4-horse field.
Yeah, and against nothing. But she's gonna dominate because there's nothing in that sprint division for fillies anyway.
Yeah, really for fillies, who besides Gamine, who's a top sprinter right now.
Yeah, for fillies. But she could run off Lasix and probably still win, Chip. She's not going to go against the boys ever, so she'll be fine.
Correct. Yeah.
No, but it is a big thing, and finding out that's like 0.5 milligrams of Lasix they're allowed to use or something like that, which is like nothing, like a maintenance dose, and that I don't know. It's a crazy thing that's going on. Sarah's got to go. I will hang out for a couple more minutes, Chip. And
yes, good luck to everybody. Make sure you follow us because we have a great Belmont pick show coming out later this week with your picks from some of the top handicappers in the industry.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. Don't worry about it. I got this.
He's just interrupting.
I'll do it before we go.
Good luck to everybody. See you later.
All right, Chip. Yeah, we'll do a few more minutes and answer some questions for everybody. Here. All right, now I'm on the thing. Yeah. All right.
Oh, you're right in the center now.
Yeah. See that? Centered. That's what it should be.
And people think Gamine doesn't like Churchill. I think she likes Churchill fine. She just ran in a 1 1/8 race in the Kentucky Oaks and was beat because she's just not a 1 1/8 horse. She had
a lot of work last year. I mean, she did a lot of work.
She did, and she ran great.
It could be just was tired. A lot of times these bounces from that year. I mean, it might not be, just that. I know this answer.
Oh yeah. Well, contemporary. I'm my all-time favorite horse is Ali Sheba. So Ali Sheba is sort of the horse that got me into the game. He's my all-time favorite horse, but there's another horse that I've done a great amount of research on who is right up there that I don't know if a lot of people know of, is Farlap, a great Australian racehorse that came over to the United States and won in Mexico, who I believe is the best horse of all time, Farlap. Yeah. So if you don't know who Farlap is, Pharlap, and that's his first
They have a
word of his
movie.
name.
They did
Yes,
a
they have a
movie.
movie. There's documentaries. You can YouTube it. I highly suggest doing research on Farlap. Just a fascinating story. So yes, those two horses.
I do have to comment on. Somebody said that in the backside of LASIK is a masking agent. I've never heard. Is that true? I've never heard that it's a masking agent, and it has to be a lot of it, right?
Yeah, I've heard that a little bit. I don't know if I buy into that. But yes, you would need a lot of it. And I'm not an expert on medications when it comes to racehorses, but I know this. I think the worst is behind us as far as us being the country, United States, when it comes to medication violations and regulations. I think it's only going to get better now because of the recent happenings and just over the last couple of years with some of the headlines that racing has gotten. I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah. If you're a Lava Man fan, your favorite was Lava Man, then you're probably voting for who comes out? Hot Rod Charlie can send out
Yes.
with him.
Lava Man was one of my favorites. Just a game horse. He just couldn't win outside of California. But that's happened to many of them. Best Pal was another one who struggled to win outside of the state. But Lava Man will be leading Hot Rod Charlie onto the racetrack. Yes, he's a stable pony for Doug O'Neill.
Yeah, and they're sending him. Last time they didn't. I guess they didn't send him last time or something, but they're sending him this time. That's your Hot Rod Charlie angle. He's got his boy back. They're hanging in the stalls together.
Hey, gives him advice.
I do see this. Serengeti Empress is one of your favorite horses. Hey, I'm not knocking it, but
Mine?
No, James over here.
Oh,
says,
okay. Serengeti Empress.
Cigar.
It's
a weird combination. There you go.
You know what? I have another favorite horse. My favorite turf horse of all time is Great Communicator. Not a lot of people know who Great Communicator is. He won the 1988 Breeders' Cup Turf, but Great Communicator and I go way back, and he is definitely my favorite turf horse of all time, along with Manila. You mentioned Cigar. How can anybody not love Cigar? I think he's probably one of the more underrated horses in history. What he did on the racetrack, spectacular bid. See, there's Jesse says spectacular bid, best horse to look through a bridle. Sure. I've
actually heard that before on our show from somebody that was big. I've actually heard that before.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. And Spectacular Bid was a great horse in his time. And he certainly has every right to be up there in the top 5 or 10 horses of all time. Cigar, though, what he did, getting back to Cigar, I got to tell you, man, you're never going to see that again. What he did, I don't have the stats in front of me, but to win the 16 straight races and however many grade ones he won from coast to coast all over. You're never going to see that again.
Well, yeah, you can't compare Zenyatta's run with his. You can't. I mean, I'm sorry if everybody out there is going to get mad at me. And I'm definitely not bashing California because, but I mean, it's not even close. Cigar's run was amazing. And a shame that horse was sterile because I would have liked to see his horses come out. I mean, really, like what a great stud I feel like he would have been. And
the thing about Cigar, he was fast, right? The figures he ran when he was winning are far and away faster than the horses that you're seeing, these older horses now. So I think, if anything, he's one of the more underrated horses we've seen.
Yeah, oddly enough. Yeah. I wonder why that is. But yeah, we could do this all day, guys, but we got to go. Maybe just do a couple more here because I see people we're not getting into. Oh yeah, and I wanted to answer somebody. Chip, somebody did ask. I didn't put it up there. I don't know if they're still listening because it's a little bit ago. When do they draw the undercard? Do we know that? They probably do that like normal. Or do they do it tomorrow?
So Friday's card is already out there. The undercard's today, so you should see that posted pretty quick because I know Friday's card is already out there to see. It was out there yesterday. So the undercard, so Saturday's card will be out there today.
All right, so they probably already did that, I'm sure. So all right, so that's out there for everybody that doesn't know. Wow, here you go. Somebody's a great commuter.
Yeah, I remember Ray Sabile and Ray Communicator very much so. I mean, Ray Communicator was one of my favorites for a lot of reasons. Very sad ending to his life and career. but I choose to remember him for what he did on the racetrack. Just a really game horse, a game grass horse, and just a perfect example of a horse that came into his own at age, I believe he was 5 or 6 when in 1988. If you remember the 1987 Breeders' Cup, he was the front runner in that great turf race between Trempolino and Theatrical. Great Communicator set the pace in that race and then backed up in the stretch. But then he came back in 1988, and he was just a different horse. It was like the lights went on for Great Communicator, and he was a very good horse in 1988 and 89. And again, he won that Breeders' Cup turf at Churchill Downs. And was very good in 1989. Yes, he is, and Ray Sabia was his rider. So, yes, I do remember that.
Hey, good shout out. Thank you, G-Gen. I agree. I think we're going to do something with horse racing here. And, thank you. All right. So we could talk about this all day, but we're going to talk obviously the Belmont coming up. We talked it already, but we have a great show coming up, and you will see Chip on the show. So everybody out there, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, follow Chip on we'll follow his articles on Horse Racing Nation. He gives out his rankings every week. He'll tell you that in a second, I'm sure. But for Wednesday, taping it Wednesday for the Belmont, we're coming out with our special show where we give picks from Nick Hines will be on the show, Sarge from TBG, Shu from DGen Nation. With that shout out, you guys know him. Jason the Cashier Casa. We're doing Craig Mokowski from Timeform US, always a good guy to have on. Ed DeRosa. We're having Ed on, Chip. Always fun. From Churchill.
All right.
Yeah. And then Chip, obviously you, Dr. Derby will be on. Ellis Starr will be coming on too. Been on the show a couple times. Ellis is a great, great guy. And working on a couple others, but that's what we're going to have so far. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to give their Belmont picks. So it'll be a good time. So make sure you follow us on DGen Nation. And obviously, and Chip, tell them what you do, and we'll talk about our plan on what we're hopefully doing soon as well. Chip, tell them where they can follow you and read your articles.
You'll see my material on Horse Racing Nation. Post usually every Thursday. The division rankings will be up there on the main page that I update every week, and it's just sort of a rundown of all the divisions as in terms of the Eclipse award, as far as who's leading the Eclipse races in all of the divisions, and usually I'll profile a horse or a specific divisional race in my piece that particular week. So obviously this week I haven't decided who I'm going to write about, but I think we could safely say it's going to be about the Belmont, believe it or not. Maybe the undercard. There's a few really good undercard races, specifically that Ogden Phipps. So I may even dive into that one. So, but yeah, every week, every Thursday, Horse Racing Nation, you can find the division rankings.
Absolutely. I won't ever really put up negative comments, but I have to do this for Chip.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I have no comment.
We love Ed. It's all right. I mean, yeah, I do hear that about him. So anyway, all right. So so Chip, and hopefully we'll be getting to do some shows about your rankings.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that this week, and we'll be doing that hopefully live. We will be doing it live where you give out your rankings and we talk about them just like this and have these conversations with Chip, and that'll be on Horse Racing Nation. So that'll be awesome. All right, guys. So for me and the Triple Clowns with DGen Nation, and for Chip Gehrke, Dr. Derby, or the Belmont biologist, as we call him today, from Horse Racing Nation, we'll see you later. Good luck at the Belmont, and thanks. And remember, hit that like, subscribe button, and get the notification so you can see our other things. We had a really great interview with Mike Smith, so check that out. That was a lot of fun. Chip can attest. We asked him if he's an alien and everything. We have a conversation about that. So it's a good time. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the comments, and we'll see you later.
Okay, bye.